Hola, hoy es 15 de octubre de 2009, estamos platicando con Jack Dorsey, fundador y creador de la idea de Twitter. Estamos platicando con él porque estamos en un evento que se llama Alliance of Youth Movements, la Alianza de Movimientos de la Juventud, cuyo tema principal es el uso de herramientas de Internet para realizar cambios en la sociedad. Y pues bueno, vamos a platicar con Jack, que se va a presentar y nos va a contar primero cómo surgió esto de Twitter. There you go, Jack.
Hello, I'm Jack Dorsey.
Yes. Can you start to tell us, you had 15 years, you told me, when you started with this idea?
Yeah, so I started, when I was 15 years old, I became fascinated with how cities work. And I wanted to understand exactly how they worked. So I taught myself how to program so that I could put a map of my hometown in Manhattan on the screen. And then I learned how to put dots on the map, and then I learned how to move the dots around the map. So suddenly I had this beautiful map with all these like little moving dots going all over the place. But the dots had no meaning. So I was trying to figure out ways to represent something, and I came across taxi cabs, police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances. And I found these public databases of these movements. So suddenly these dots represented these police cars and taxi cabs who were constantly reporting as they roamed about the metropolis where they were and what they were doing. So this was awesome, and I continued to work with systems like this for a while until about 2000, when IM got very big in my life, and I wanted the same thing for my friends. I wanted to get away from the computer. I wanted to report and share where I was and what I was doing, and I wanted to keep my friends in my pocket at all times. So I tried to create a system with the first BlackBerry, where I had a program that would receive emails from my BlackBerry, and it would broadcast out to my friends over email.
We are talking about the year.
This is the year 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, and it turns out that no one was interested in receiving those emails from me. So the time just wasn't right, and timing is a big part of every project, of every endeavor. And the timing was right in 2006 when SMS got very big in this country, in the US, I mean. And I personally just fell in love with the technology. I loved how simple it was. I loved how rough around the edges it was. I loved that it was accessible by everyone. And I loved that I could take my $20 phone and go out in the middle of Mexico City and share everything I was seeing. So I brought this idea up to a company I was working at called Audio, which was a podcasting company. And we were working on podcasting tools, and we were looking at mobile phones and group communication. And I brought the idea up, and I was given 2 weeks and one other programmer to make it happen and see if there was something there. So in 2 weeks, we built the system. And on March 23rd of 2006, I sent the first update, and it was inviting coworkers. And I invited my coworkers, and everyone fell in love with the technology and the service. And little by little, we took more and more people to work on this new project. And in April of 2007, we spun it out as Twitter Incorporated, and it became its own entity.
Great. 2 weeks only.
2 weeks.
Can you tell me how were that 2 weeks? What did you do? How did you start? Did you sleep? And did you did anything? Or it was like a creative blast of.
Oh yeah, we worked nonstop, and the best moments were when we got SMS working. We had a very simple website. We had a service that looked pretty good, that we could interact on the web, but the moment that I remember specifically, I turned on SMS, and I just had coded that aspect, and then I was running late to my yoga class, so I rushed to my yoga class, and on the train I'm on my way to my yoga class, and it worked. And that was just the best feeling ever. And then I started receiving messages from my coworkers, because now they knew that SMS was working, so they were updating from their phones, and suddenly we have the immediacy. Suddenly we have everything that I wanted to achieve over those past 15 years. And it was just an awesome feeling. So that moment, you know, right after my class, I went right back to work and just, you know, started going like crazy. And yeah, it was a great time.
Great. That feeling has multiplied by millions and millions of people that are using this tool.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you describe it? I know many of the users already know it, but your personal description of this feeling.
For me, it's really about that immediacy. It's about you know, me walking around the middle of Mexico City and suddenly feeling my pocket buzz and me taking it out, and it's an update from my mom about you know, whatever she's talking about during the day. But it's just awesome because she's in St. Louis, Missouri, and you know, has her own life, and here I am in Mexico City with, you know, the State Department and at this awesome conference, and we're both leading very different lives right now, but we have this connection, and I just felt it, you know, in my pocket, and I bring it out and I read her, and I'm instantly brought back to my mother and, you know, that life and what she's doing. So the immediacy that allows around conversation, the immediacy that allows to understand what's going on in someone else's life, all over the world, it feels so good, and it makes so many things tangible. I think one of my favorite moments in Twitter's history is when Barack Obama served his first 100 days in office. He gave a speech in front of Congress, and there were congressmen and congresswomen and senators who were updating while he was speaking to the House. And this was live on TV, and I was watching it on CNN, and I was seeing him speak, and then I would get this buzz in my pocket, and it was Senator Claire McCaskill, the senator from Missouri, and she was updating about, you know, Obama's speech, and then the camera would turn to all these congressmen and congresswomen, and you could see them typing on their BlackBerries, and it's just awesome to see that live on the screen in the halls of government, which in many ways in the past have been inaccessible. Okay. And then suddenly, like, it's on my pocket and I can respond and interact.
Great. We have like 1 minute or probably 2. 1 minute for you to share your views about how the social media tools can make a difference.
Well, I think social moments. Yeah, I mean, I think the mandate for the tool makers is to make sure that the tools stay up and they speak to how people are using it today, and they are convenient. But it's really up to the users to define where this goes and how it's used. I consider Twitter to be a utility. I consider it to be akin to electricity, akin to any communication device that we have today. It's an evolution, it's a new way to communicate, and it's up to the users to build their own value on top of that and to extract their value from it. So it can create movements, it can support movements, it can, you know, support the smallest to the largest, but it's really dependent on who uses it and who interacts with it.
Great. Thank you very much, Jack, and welcome to Mexico.